think we're live. Let me make sure I got all this stuff set up right. I'm by myself today, so give me a minute to make sure we are good here. I want to make sure everybody can hear and see everything. Let's go here. Let's go here. Here we go. All right. All right. Que pasa, que pasa, que pasa? Welcome to episode 1 of the Top 1% Truthcast, where I'm going to try to shine light on the real stories behind elite producers, elite performers, and just elite human beings in general. And really the idea about this series is going to be the consistency, the discipline, the truth behind what it really takes to become top 1% and to achieve top 1% results. Because reality is most people aren't born top 1%. They are cultivated, developed, and it's something you have to work on over time. And so I wanted to start with my story. We wanted to have the founding journey to be with mine, so you understand who I am, where I'm coming from, why I'm doing this. And the reality is I've learned a lot of things in my career. What I would say is not everything that I've learned has been the easy way. That's for sure. And that's part of the struggle, though, is not giving up and the perseverance to go through the struggles and get through the hurdles and humps and everything else that goes with that is really the key defining factor to making the difference. And so what I want to do is make sure, and what I need to do real quick, I need to flip the screen so I can see if there's anybody in the chat. We'll see if anybody's chatting today. Let's take a look here. All right. Perfect. Now I can kind of see what's going on. Got some action going. Oh, you saw my butt. How's my butt look? You guys like my butt for a sec there? All right. So again, the last 7.5 years, in essence, since June of 2018, have been quite the journey for me. It's been a really fun experience overall. And when I look back, I'm very, very proud of the progress we've made and everything we've done. I'm going to take this off. It's hot in this studio today. Plus, I want to flex off the old new logo shirts and everything, right? Top 1% podcast, Truthcast. Really, it's a Truthcast. A podcast, I'm over the podcast thing. I just want to get down to the truth, the nitty gritty. The reality is I'm going to try to make these efficient, 30 to 45 minutes a piece. Once a week. We're going to start with Saturdays for now. It might switch to a different day as I get out of the annual enrollment period. Just trying to work around the busyness of the schedule and lining up guests this time of year, especially in this industry, is difficult. So first couple of guests most likely will be outside of the insurance industry, which it's honestly, it's more fun. I like the variety. I like to learn about, the top 1% ingredients, no matter what industry, frankly, end up being the same thing. And so that's the cool part about this is, giving you the truth of the reality of, how did I get here? How did I go from this journey? I've been in the industry 20 years now, and a lot of this journey has been a solo mission, and that's part of the difficulty when you're in an insurance agent position. Is part of the difficulty is you feel like a lone wolf. You're out on your own. There's not a lot of camaraderie unless you're plugged into like an office scenario where you have other things like that you're working off of. And so, I'm trying to stay on task. I want to be efficient with these things. And what I'm basically going to do this week is interview myself on some levels. And I want to try to go through, sharing with the truth, the honest truth, without crossing any legal boundaries, but tell you enough of what we'd endured. So on this episode, I'm reasonably limited on how deep into the truth I can go about my current situation. What I can say is, despite my current situation, we're still having one of the best years, or having the best year we've ever had, helping more people we've ever helped. Same thing with our team. I've learned some really cool things as far as the truth goes over the last couple of months. about where we are, who we are, what we do, and really the direction that we personally, when I say we, my wife and I and my team of wonderful brokers and agents across our partners, that are our founding legacy, if you will. That's what this whole thing's about, is to create a legacy lasting for other people, and finding that that drive. And so what I want to say is I'm going to go through a few of these questions, just kind of go through rapid fire questions, and get this show on the road so I can give you some value, so it's not just me talking, if you will. Okay, so that's the introduction. If you have questions as we go, shout out in chat, comment, like, share this if you can. I'm going to put the replays up and everything. More than likely, people are going to watch the replays than anything else, and so that's where the real value is going to come out. So okay. So I'm going to be honest, I had AI ask me questions, to come up with questions to ask me, as it's difficult to interview yourself, and I didn't want it to be questions that I just came up with. So for AI, it says, Joshua, for the people hearing you for the first time, who is the Medicare machine, and what does the top 1% truth mean to you personally? Okay, so who is the Medicare machine? It is the definition. I have to give credit where credit's due. Cody Askins gave me the nickname, in essence, during a process. Shout out Cody. Hope you're doing well. During the process of getting to know them, and him getting to know me. And in essence, back when I met him, I was still in the grind of building my agency and my legacy personally, my personal production. And back then, I really was focused on working 7 days a week, 53 days in a row, in essence, with taking Thanksgiving off. And my wholehearted goal was to do as much as possible to help as many people as possible, be as productive as possible. And really, my number one goal is to be the top insurance agent in the state of Colorado. And over time, that's adapted to other goals and things. And I've accomplished many wonderful things in this beautiful industry that have made me very, very honored and blessed and thankful for the skills, abilities, and opportunity that God has put me in front of, so I can be who I am. And so what does the top 1% truth mean to me personally? This podcast to me personally is how part of how I give back to those that maybe have been told their whole life that they have a lot of potential, but never really felt like they ever lived up to it, or had opportunities to be better, but didn't really take advantage of it. And opportunity is fleeting, but our legacy is not. And so for me, the top 1% Truthcast is to help you understand, from not just my perspective, from a bunch of other people who have done big, great, wonderful things and helped people the right way. And I want to be key to this. I'm all about doing things the right way. I firmly believe you can be top 1% without breaking the rules, without stepping on throats, without being cutthroat of the business, without any of that stuff. And so in reality, that's where my focus is now. Is part of the truth is for you to understand that there's a whole lot of parts of this industry that I'm in that it's kind of like the Wizard of Oz, where they try to keep things behind that curtain and not let you see who the wizard is. But I'm here to expose the wizard. He's going to give me some time over multiple podcasts and different guests and different things to get to the truth, so that you know how to avoid some of the things that I learned the hard way. Because there's a lot of people that talk the talk, very few people that walk the talk. Okay, you got to walk the talk. Take us back 7.5 years. How did this all start? What was the moment you decided to build something from nothing? Yeah, no, I was kind of forced into it. So this, the whole commission only thing and all of that, frankly, is very difficult to pull off. And the reason I say that is, it's difficult to pull off because you run into a lot of things. So one second. Here's that one thing. Here we go. I need to flip this because I don't want to see me. I want to see comments. There we go. Perfect. All right. Forgot to do. I just want to make sure that stuff was working well as well. Okay, so I was forced into it. I'd been working 14.5 years for someone else. I was very comfortable. It was a very good job with very good benefits in a lot of respects, a lot of fringe benefits, tons of vacation time. I think it was up to like 12 weeks of vacation a year or something like that. Some ridiculous amount, but I strategically used and ended up using most years. But I worked for a gentleman who mentored me from a situation where I was really rough. I was really, really not a top 1%. I was definitely potential, and mostly potential, when my mentor / boss found me and hired me and allowed me an opportunity to take a secretary position. And so 14 and a half years in, this would have been December of 2017, the agency I was working for was sold. And when that agency was sold, I was sold with it. And it was a sobering moment in that while I was happy and honored to help been a part of building something so great that someone was able to now retire off of, all I really got in a lot of ways was a wave and a handshake, and a thank you on the way out. And even then, there was some turbulence in the process as well, because I had some misunderstandings and there were some other things that went along that, created this moment. But in that moment, once I found out the agency was sold, I knew I wasn't going to work for somebody else anymore. And I had to figure out a way to do this. And it was really my forced push out of the nest, if you will, from the comforts of being not a 1099, being W-2, being an employee, having benefits, having the security and comfort of being able to just go to work and then go home. All of that stuff, really is the cornerstone of everything that I did. And, that's really what pushed me out was someone sold the agency I was working for, and I didn't want to go down that road again. I had the opportunity to stay on with the new owners and everything. And honestly, to give them credit, they told me that I was best served being a broker, which, it's really scary to make that jump. It's really hard to go through that process and get through that, but that's the reality of it. And so it said, the next question it has for me: you've said before you started broke, hungry, and wearing a United Healthcare shirt at a food bank. What mindset kept you going in those early days? Yeah. So I get fast forward from that December 2017 to June of 2018. I hit the field. I did everything. I said yes to every single thing. And one of the things I said yes to was an opportunity to, they said, hey, we've got an opportunity to go to a bunch of mobile food bank pantry locations. How many would you like to do? And I said, all of them. How many are there? And so I think there were like 17 of them or something like that I started out the rotation and the tour. And the reality is my brand had no weight back then. And so I was taught to leverage somebody else's brand if your brand doesn't have that weight and doesn't carry the leverage. And so in that moment, I really focused on using United Healthcare's brand and their model. They had a system where they gave you free marketing supplies, pop-up banners, brochures. I took anything I could that cost no money to low money, because I had no money in the beginning. We all start with nothing, it feels like, when we go into this business. And I was building something from nothing, but I did everything I could to leverage that. And so I just knew. I just had this belief in my head that I was going to be the number one agent, whatever pool of people you put me into, big pond, small pond, little pond. In the beginning, I wasn't. I was competing against very, very seasoned veterans and other things, but I was very proud. Did over 300 applications in my first 6 months, had a monumental AEP that catapulted me into where I am today. And so, yeah, I would say starting broke, hungry, and wearing a United Healthcare shirt is really where you want to start, because that offers you an opportunity to earn it the hard way and go through a process to, just go that direction. So let's see. Hold on one sec. It's live on Facebook profile or YouTube. Got people that are trying to tune in. That's okay. I'll post the replay anyway. We'll get it out. But I do like to do these live. I don't like the whole pre-recorded truth. The whole part of the Truthcast is we're not editing anything out here. We're going to be truthful, honest, raw, live, authentic. That's what you'll find about me, is I'm very authentic. And oftentimes I'd say shit I shouldn't. So apologize in advance. Oh, excuse me. Thank you, Lord. I apologize for saying that. I say stuff that I shouldn't. I'm working on that hard. Okay. So section 2 is reality of the journey. What were the biggest sacrifices you had to make during the journey that most people never see? Reality is my wife and kids make more sacrifices than I did. Now, in retrospect, I sacrificed time, relationship, and other things with my family by putting work first. And that's really what you have to do if you're going to do this at top 1% level. But I had a vision of being, in my mind at the time, I was 6-figure talent in my mind. My whole life I'd been busting my butt, and the highest I ever gotten to was like 56 or 60,000, somewhere in that range. That's with working 2 jobs at one point. I was a waiter at night, and I was working at the office during the day. And that for my initial goal, my goal was just to be I thought it was 6-figure talent, and later learned that I was actually 7-figure talent really instead. And that's the beauty of it, is you learn about yourself in the journey more than anything else. And so I'd say the biggest sacrifices, again, you sacrifice everything. I gave up sports. I used to be a fanatic for Broncos and Nuggets and Avalanche and every other sport, Rockies, you name it. I was a sports fanatic. Try to watch every single sport every single weekend. I do the Sunday ticket, and I would do all the other stuff as far as watching everything. And so, yeah, I think for me, the sacrifices I made were my hobbies, my friends, my family, everything. Everything was sacrificed. You have to sacrifice something. You either sacrifice what you have to get what you want, or you sacrifice what you want to keep what you have. Those are the two options. And so if you're happy with what you have, that's perfectly fine. It's never been enough for me, and I've always had a drive to keep going for more. Every top performer hits the wall. What was your wall, and what did you do when you hit it? Man, yeah, you're gonna hit a wall. You're gonna hit a wall. For me, the wall was success, and I think that's probably the hardest part on your journey to top 1% is, for some people, like I said, my initial goal was six figures, just 100,000 a year. And then I got way above that. It started amplifying more and more and more and more and more. I found out a lot more was possible. And so really the wall you're going to hit is mental, and the plateau, frankly, is one or two things. You either run into the wall of no success, and then the wall becomes persevering through wanting to quit, persevering through things not working, persevering through that learning curve process and getting your feet wet and understanding the market and the marketplace and the people. The people are the key, and understanding how to avoid certain people. Like, as an example, if someone's a pain in the butt, if they're mean to me in the beginning of the process, I'll give a fair opportunity for a bad day, etc. But if you can just tell they have that kind of personality that conflicts with you inside, I've learned to just get rid of that person immediately. Even if I just hang up and just never answer the phone again. For some of us, that's what we have to do because we don't have the ability to say no, right? And so that's where the complications of the situation really going to come into is, the wall. The wall is different for everyone, but honestly, it's almost always a mental wall, not like a physical wall. It's usually not a physical thing. It's mental, 100%. Most of this is mental. Let's talk mistakes, especially with uplines. Thanks to AI. Without naming names, okay, save me. What have been the biggest lessons you've learned from choosing the wrong partnerships? Maybe even multiple times. Yeah, no, I have. And what I would say is I chose the right partnerships in my mind at the time. However, I didn't have any real understanding of what I should or shouldn't be looking for, what I should or shouldn't do, who I should or shouldn't avoid or not avoid, and how to see through the smoke screens and really determine. I'm going to give credit to Coach Burt. Shout out to Coach Burt if you're out there watching this at some point. I love you so much. I'm so appreciative. Not only some will, some won't, but Coach Burt has taught me a lot when it comes to understanding that the table you sit at is the table you make. And I can't control how others are, but also what Coach Burt says, which really hammers home this point, is go where you're celebrated, not tolerated. And I've been where I've been celebrated. I've been where I've been tolerated. I've been where I've been celebrated. I've been where I've been taken advantage of. I've had it all. And along the way, good people, bad people, but I've had both. I will say the first few times I went through the release process, it was much easier in retrospect. And it was because I dealt with good people, with honorable people that had real integrity. And this time around, the challenge is navigating the waters with someone that appears to have integrity but doesn't. And that's really the wolf in sheep's clothing kind of thing. That's the hardest thing to find, and I would say to determine. And so, when you're choosing an upline, what my best advice is this: all of them offer the same stuff. What reality is, it depends on where you're at in the process. If you're brand new, honestly, what you want to find is a top performer who's new in the process of building a team, so they have time, energy, and effort to give to you and individual attention. And from there, you need to have a relationship that has a communication in the beginning, and you need to put all the stuff in writing. That's part of the communication. And part of the process is having a plan for what happens when I get to blank level, and having them lay out, are they fully equipped to grow with you? Are they planning on growing with you? And if not, what's the process to transition you to the next mentor, if you will? Because some uplines are going to be stepping stones depending on how you approach the process and depending on how you develop. And so that's what I would say. Find someone that basically is aligned with where you're at in development. But if you're a seasoned veteran agent, the reality is they all offer the same stuff. They all offer the same money. They all offer the same, except for some of them withhold certain parts of it and operate under like I'll use a quote that I'll define later on who said it. But you got to play the game and you got to know how to work the system and you got to blah, 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 blah. And basically, if you don't know about something, I'm not going to tell you, which is not a partner. That's someone who's taking advantage of you. And so, go through a long process of interviewing and don't just do weird stuff like throw a freaking, hey, I got my license into one of these, what I would call Shark Tanks, which are a lot of these, and they're not Shark Tanks because of the owners of most of these Facebook groups for people with Medicare focused groups, but there's a ton of sharks in the tanks. And even though they have moderators and other things in place, there's a fair amount of craziness that goes on. And so I would never try that. What you want to do is just start going to events and start going to certain things, date around, if you will, ask around, and really get different perspectives from different people so that when you choose a partner, it's in alignment with where you're at, where you're trying to go. You're trying to get from A to B, right? Not A to Z. And a lot of them are going to try to promise you they can get you from A to Z when they haven't even got to A to Z themselves. And so that's the reality is no one's qualified to teach you to do anything that they haven't done themselves. And frankly, if you're working with an upline who hasn't been in the field for a year or 2 or 3 years, they have a distinct disadvantage over someone like me who's in the field right now, performing at levels higher than anybody for the most part. There's people out there that do more than me. And I'm not going to try to say I'm the number one because I'm not. Because that's not my goal anymore. It's not my goal anymore. This year, if I was really dialed in, I was working 7 days a week. Like if I was just running apps all day today instead of doing this, or coaching kids basketball this morning, or golf on Sundays, or whatever the heck we're doing, I could have done 900 apps this year easily. Even now, I'm still on pace to do my most of ever, and I'm going to take more days off than I ever have. And so there is a way to get balanced. There is a way to get there, but along the way, your upline partner is a very critical piece of that on how fast and far you grow, depending on how much information they're going to share with you and how truthful they are with what information they actually give you. Because most of them, frankly, they withhold the actual secret sauce, and they don't actually share the secret sauce unless you're in their secret club. That's my current situation. I'm not in the secret club, never have been, never will. And you know what? It's fine. What I know is the truth now. And the truth is my agency has one of the top per agent averages as far as app counts of any agency in the country. And I know that for a fact. And that's the truth. And that's the beauty of it is your upline matters. But on some level, if you're a top 1% performer, you're going to perform on any team. You're going to perform in any environment. And frankly, I've performed and produced despite my upline instead of because of my uplines. So that's what I would say about uplines. If you could go back, what would you tell yourself before signing the first contract with an upline? Honestly, I wouldn't tell myself anything because I wouldn't have learned the lessons I did along the way I did. I wouldn't be where I'm at. So honestly, I wouldn't change a thing as far as that part goes. Let's see. This year has been one of your toughest. What made 2025 so uniquely difficult? Man, we've dealt with a lot of stuff, both on the personal side, the professional side, chasing the rabbit. And what I would say is, if you know authentically who you are and what you're trying to do and who you align with, you can tell that the missions that you're trying to follow and or the blueprint that someone else has told you is the path to success, or that you've seen someone else use to be the path to success. What I would say is the alignment that you have matters more so than the abilities that you have. So the alignment, especially in the beginning, I would focus more on how can they give me a simple, executable, duplicatable plan that has been proven multiple times. Like, can you show me multiple examples? Can I shadow people? Can I do something like that? So what's made this year most difficult? Honestly, myself. And the truth is, myself, one of the best things I've been at in my life that I had thought I had gotten over, but you're never too old to make mistakes. But I self-sabotage and making poor decisions based off of emotion and or reactionary and or allowing outside sources to dictate how you think, act, and feel, how I think, act, and feel. That's really what's caused me the most difficulty this year is myself. I've dealt with active suppression from people above me at every upline level. How do you explain that? Man, yeah, what I would say is not everyone's going to want you to win. And even the people that are supposed to want you to win and people that look you in the eye and tell you they want you to win, oftentimes they don't really want you to win. And what I would say is it's easy to tell when people want you to win. I'll save that for a whole other segment, but because I can go an hour and a half into that. So what I would say is be careful on who you tell your wins to and who you tell your losses to. But probably more importantly, be wary of who you tell your wins to. Let's see. How have you protected your mindset when you know someone in authority is trying to limit your potential? Well, so that's going to happen. What I would say is you're going to have haters at every level. Sometimes the problem is the hater has power and or control and or ability to suppress you in some way, shape, or form, harm you in some way, shape, or form. And I've dealt with that. And the reality is, if you think of yourself like a bobber, they can hold you down underwater for a minute. But as long as you stay true to yourself and you just keep focusing on what you're best at, which for me is helping people on a grand scale, on a massive scale, that's where the focus is. And that's where I'm trying to stay dialed into and make sure that, I keep my mind right now. I'm in a really good space in the last, I don't know how many days, weeks, could be. I lose track of time this time of year, but I'm in such a good place right now. Let's see. What did I learn about loyalty, leadership, and trust through the season of struggle? Yeah, no, I've learned that I needed to be a better leader, not just for myself, for my family, for my friends. So I've made a lot of mistakes as a leader. That you learn the hard way, and that's the key. The key with a mistake is it's only a mistake, or it's only a error and permanent if you allow it to be. If you learn from it and you modify and you grow and you develop and you find a way to overcome, then it becomes something that's a moot point in the past. And so I've learned loyalty is my number one thing moving forward. I'd rather have loyalty over anything else. I'd take half as much money for twice as much loyalty all day long. And cheers to that. All right. Despite everything, you still produced top tier numbers. Yeah, here's the cool part. Here's the truth. I took OEP off because I was trying to go hardcore into building the team in January, February, and March of this year. And so I got out of the field. I did 4 applications, helped 4 people in the entirety of the OEP. Despite that, and despite the scoreboard goalpost being moved because it went from AEP to the end of this year being the contest to all of a sudden just January 1st to the end of the year. So it moved me to the back of the pack, the bottom. And in 2 months, I worked my way up all the way to number 11. And then since then, I've been suppressed back off the leaderboard. So you'll never know where I'm at officially, really. And I don't know if I ever did, other than the 1 year I actually got the trophies from them. But yeah, how did I stay consistent? Thank God to my wife. Praise God for giving me strength and clarity and support and grace and forgiveness and an opportunity to learn and grow. So I'd just say my mindset has become my strength, and my confidence comes from consistent, persistent results over a long period of time. And I produce just no matter what people say, no matter what people do, and at whatever levels they want to try to put asterisks on it, it doesn't bother me anymore. Let's see, what habits or systems make you a genuine top 1% performer, not just in numbers, but in retention, integrity, and accretion. So integrity and accretion, that's the cool part. You start asking those questions of your upline. What is the average retention and or accretion rate for your downlines? What's the average app per agent that you have on your downline? How many agents do you have? How much time are they going to have? Those are all good things, but habits are clear. Habits are what set the ability for things to be easy for you. And so I would encourage you to learn how to use your habits against yourself, in essence, because your number one enemy to productivity and growth is going to be yourself telling you to take it easy, take a day off, take a break, go do this, just go play golf, just go fishing. I had a lot of that in the beginning. And it was a struggle, because in your mind, especially when you get your own business, you think, oh man, I got my own business, so now I've already made it. Now I can start working my own hours, and I get time work balance right away, and I can start doing the fun stuff right away. No, reality is you got to earn that. You got to earn weekends off. You got to earn the ability to have that freedom. So, yeah. People think success is glamorous. What's the truth about top 1% life actually looks like behind the scenes? Man, it's a nightmare sometimes. Sometimes you're on the road a lot. Sometimes you're away from your family a lot, especially this time of year. There's lots of years where I'd go to bed. It was dark. Everybody's asleep. I wake up the next day. It's still dark. Everybody's still asleep. I wouldn't see anybody, except for my dogs, because they rely on me, right? They're always excited to see me no matter what day and what time of day it is. But the reality is, the success is only glamorous on the backside, and it's very short. Like the excitement of getting a trophy or getting this or getting that, it's very short and it's like over with. But the pain of a loss lasts forever. Doesn't it feel that way? And so I like to leverage my fear of a pain of loss to avoid that situation. So for me, I've always been afraid that even when I'm out producing, out performing, I know I am other people, I always assume there's someone out there doing more and doing better than me. And that's what drives me personally. So everybody has to find their own motivator, their own drive, their own reason to perform and compete at a high level and or have a mindset to do that. And if you don't, it's okay. What you got to do is find the system and process that works for you. And you got to find an upline that aligns with that mantra and groove. Let's see. Finish it up. We got a couple more and then we'll finish this off here. Without revealing anything prematurely, what can you tell us about the new season coming in early 2026? Oh, I'm so excited. We're getting realigned with the previous upline, but going direct to them instead of not. That's what I'd say. If you're a seasoned agent, skip the middles and go right to the top. Whoever's at the top contract, go direct to them. If you can't do that, go direct to the carrier. Direct is way better than having a bunch of monkeys in the tree who are going to collect override and money without actually providing value and effort and energy. So that you want to make sure that people are earning that. But what I would tell you about the first season of 2026, I'm going to take all of December to plan stuff out. We're going to be going across the country, doing a whole bunch of fun stuff. When I say we, Erin, my wife, and I, and my kids are going to hit the road on multiple trips. We're going to be doing a lot of things in the field with our team. We're going to be doing field shows, road shows, recruiting shows. Our focus is going to be to help as many people do what we've done as possible, the way we've done it, the right way, with integrity, with respect, with treating people with honor, dignity, and actually doing the right thing for clients every single time and not using scummy scripts and other things that we've received training on in so many different ways. It blows my mind that some of these agencies are in business with the way they do things. Okay. What does freedom mean to me now, and how will it change the future of your agency, your team, and your mission? Yeah, man, I feel so free. I'm caged right. I'm still caged right now. Still kind of handcuffed, but I'm so excited. I'm so relieved. I'm so thankful. We're only like 45 days away from the beginning process of lifting the persecution and all that list. And we're going to have a partner that cares about us. We're going to have a partner that believes in us, and we're going to be shooting like a rocket. So those that want to align, our mantra is really more of a Spartan 300 style. I'm looking for how can I help as many people become top 1%, top 10%. I like top 1% better, but yeah, that's my goal, my mission. So I'm excited. 2026 is going to be phenomenal for us and for you, hopefully. Let's see. If someone is listening if you're listening out there now or later, if you're in a season of suppression, betrayal, heavy resistance, not getting any response, not getting any support, if you're just in a bad spot right now, whether it's professionally, in life, whatever, reach out to me. I'd love to chat. I'd love to help you in any way, shape, or form that I'm able to. But that's what this is about at this point. This Truthcast is about me giving value to other people. So hopefully, if you're watching this, you found value, you found inspiration, you found something. But I'm going to have some really cool guests coming up. I've been working on it. Stay tuned, and let's get this party started. But this is the conclusion of the top 1%. So again, the top 1% is not a title. It's an identity. It's earned in the dark. It's earned in silence. It's earned in the struggle. It's earned in rejection. It's earned in the sacrifice. The growth comes through pain. Pain and growth are tied together. And so that's part of it. The struggle is where top 1% is developed. It's the smooth rock is bounced through a million different obstacles down the river before it comes smooth. It started out as a rough rock before it became smooth. Okay. So when this is the truth behind the truth. In January, the chains are going to come off. I'm going to have a lot more liberty to go deeper into the truth of some of this stuff. And I'm going to with tact. My goal and mission is not to disparage. My goal is not to slander. My goal is to tell the truth. My goal is to make sure that people know exactly what the truth versus perception is, because there's a wild difference between the two, and that's the truth. And so today, this is episode 1. This is my truth, and this is the beginning of something that I'm hopeful that will have an impact on changing your life, changing the landscape of our industry, changing the landscape of what people think about themselves as far as becoming top 1%. Because if you look at me back 20 years ago, 30 years ago, potential was all I was. I wasn't even close to top 1%. And in reality, I didn't even think it was possible. And that's part of the problem. Was my mindset was programmed that it wasn't possible. But it is possible. Whoever you are out there, if you're watching this, I promise, whoever you are, if you work hard enough, if you have enough determination, if you set your mind and you create a scenario where you're around the right people, in the right environment, with the right support and the right mentorship, anything is literally possible. It's up to you. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time.